Omar Cook, born January 28, 1982. Nowadays, we see players grow up with way too much hype. Can you blame any one person? Technology has gotten to a point where you can be and make anyone you want. He has X amount of views. Oh, he's real. Let's push this guy. You're out of here. In the late 90s, early 2000s, to get your name out there, you had to be nice, as they'd say in Omar's side of town. Word of mouth was the only way to get the equivalent hype. In high school, Omar was a name on many lips in the New York City basketball scene. He was the perfect fit for his era and embodied New York and its history, particularly at the point position. He had shots at it, but here's why ultimately his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Stunt number 1, development. This word would play a huge role in the Omar Cook story, and one that can be used as an example to many, but also as a harsh reality that sometimes things you lack isn't as easy to develop as the critics think, especially when you grow up in the atmosphere and era Cook was in. Being a New York City baller carries a lot of baggage that, although it looks charismatic and flashy, it's pillared with bad habits and lack of focus on other areas of the game. In other words, making the best looking play, attracting attention, and embarrassing the opponent meant a little more than making the hockey assist or winning play. One way to achieve this is your ball handling. It's the one thing you can't deny with New York guards. They can all dribble the basketball, and most to an elite level. It's the first thing they develop, and sometimes the last. Cook was blessed to be two things early on though. He had that crafty, exciting handle, but was also an amazing playmaker that seemed to always make the right pass and was an extension of the coach on the floor. He and Andre Barrett were next up in the area as New York's new bloodline. Cook was a solid 6'1", played under control and with poise beyond his years. He could do it all as a playmaker and passer, but one thing he was slow to get the hang of is shooting the basketball consistently. Whether it was him being in the environment he grew up in, or the game not requiring him to be a good shooter for his era. This lack of development would be crucial down the road and stunt his growth into the latter parts of his career. Stunt number 2, leaving the Storm. Similar to Andre Barrett, Cook was the name leaving high school and on the East Coast, a name followed closely by NBA scouts and college coaches across the nation. He decided to stay home and attend the St. John's Red Storm, a team led by former NBA player and fellow NY star Eric Barkley that was top 3 in the Big East and finished with a 28-8 record. Omar stepped in the team and was met with a role that would be important to his later decisions and acted as a mask in the face of scouts. Eric Barkley left for the NBA and the team was vastly different. Omar was now not only asked to play make and pass like he naturally did, but to score for the Storm as well. Being put in that situation does two things. It gives you an opportunity to really be yourself and show more of your game, but it can also disguise your flaws and inflate your production to look like you're playing well, but really you just have the green light and freedom. At the end of the day, if your numbers look good, you must be good, right? No, because what wasn't examined enough was the shooting development or lack thereof in Cook. While he led the Big East and was second in the nation in assists, he wasn't a reliable outside shooter. It can even be considered terrible. He shot 36% from the field and 30% from 3. Make matters worse, he shot just 74% from the line. But masking this was the 17 assist explosion against Stony Brook, breaking Mark Jackson's record, and the 8.7 assists he averaged as a true freshman. His passing and playmaking were elite, but it wasn't leading to wins, and his shooting left a lot to be developed. After a 14-15 season, Cook shocked the world and his coaches and decided to leave school after just one season. Coach Jarvis, when asked about the decision, said he was shocked. Omar, though, felt it was time. I think the general consensus disagreed with him, and it led to him literally stunning his growth. Stunt number 3, it never came. Soon enough, that is. And that's the funny thing about investing in potential. Not just basketball, but potential of anything turning out to be what you vision. Marriage, career path, friendships, and definitely basketball. It goes bad sometimes, more times than not, arguably, but in the case of sports, the guy with the potential is usually the one on the losing end of the game. coaches, scouts, and leagues can make a mistake drafting or investing in a guy, and if he doesn't pan out, they can easily move on to who's next up. The player is now in a situation where he left a great school for his fit and style of play, was clearly comfortable being home, and everyone warning him about not being ready. It's the biggest stunt of his career, literally. Cook's jump shot didn't develop in time to save his prime years. He was taken in the 2001 NBA draft by the Orlando Magic and traded to the Nuggets, where he was waived from the team when they saw him up close and realized how bad of a shooter and how undeveloped his offensive game truly was. That's the thing, when the hype bubble is around you, it's hard for the real to get in and warn you, and the investors seeing who you truly are. Omar would go on to only play 22 games in the NBA with the Blazers and Raptors. He managed to build a great career all over Europe, where he finally developed an outside shot. But that was all just too late. He didn't have that development in time, and with where the game was trying to go, he couldn't follow. At least not in the NBA space. All in all, he had a great life where he's seen the world and is happy. In the end, when the hype dies down, that's all that matters. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.